together. Once were mine. Baby, we can't see something good is gone. Got my heart and soul. You got my heart and soul.
Well, Lucas, Hugo, thank you for joining me today to talk about makeup. Congratulations. I know it's been a long journey, and all that hard work has finally paid off. And so, Hugo, tell us about makeup, and it explores friendships and the secrets they hold.
Yes, that's right. I think I was kind of navigating my own sort of insecurities with friendship and sort of the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations. So I think it's a theme that I'm always revisiting, because that's one of the most important things in life is relationships and friendships. So it seems to be a theme that I come back to with every single film that I do, no matter what genre. But this was the perfect example because it was created and born out of inspiration from friendship. So it was born from talking about relationships and friendships and talking about the experience of one of my friends who has a sister who transitioned from a man to female, and kind of talking about that sort of thing, and then bringing Will on board as well, Will Machetta, who ended up being the co-writer on this, and then ended up co-starring with me as well. It was just a really nice experience for this whole idea to be born from friendship. I wasn't just sat in a room on my own writing an idea. It was born from conversations with people that I considered close friends.
And Lucas, what did you see in Hugo, a filmmaker in his first feature?
Wow. I wish I had a great story to tell you, Mr. Howard, but unfortunately, it was chance, actually. In March of 2020, to make a long story very short, when COVID hit the world and we all went into lockdown, if you recall, it was March of 2020, I was trapped here in Florida. That's why I wore the shirt in your honor, sir. I was trapped here going crazy. Now, I'd been a lawyer primarily for about 35 years. That was my primary, goal, profession. That's all I did. But in March of 2020, I was trapped. COVID, the world was in chaos. Donald Trump was president at the time. They were picketing, there was rioting, you name it. The world was going crazy. So I sat here and I said, I need to do something. How can I make a difference? So long story short, I went to crowdfunding pages, and Mr. Howard, I found myself attracted to film. I don't know what it was, but I saw these kids that were looking for money so they could realize their ideas, and there were many, predominantly in the UK for some reason, and that's where Hugo is. Hugo is in London, here in Florida, in the US, and I saw makeup. Makeup was a crowdfunding project. Hugo was asking for contributions from friends, families, strangers. And I saw the topic was unique. It was different. It was threatening for many, right? Gender identification, cross-dressing, all these issues that to this very day are extremely controversial. And I liked the sensitive way in which they addressed the topic. And that's how I got involved. But it was entirely chance and largely due to COVID.
Well, I went to film school many years ago, and crowdsourcing and crowdfunding, it's a different world, Hugo. I mean, it's a different time. But what are the challenges in writing and directing yourself, especially during the pandemic?
Directing myself or just directing in general?
Both. I mean, you're starring in the film and writing it. So I've always wondered,
Yeah,
that takes a talented individual to see different aspects of your project and your vision.
talented, I'm not sure. Stubborn, definitely. I was stubborn enough to think that I could do all jobs, but no, it was very, very difficult. I mean, the fact that it was that we were dealing with the pandemic, this thing that none of us have ever experienced, and trying to understand how we navigate it while still pursuing our passion in the film. It was very, very complicated. There were times and situations where we, had long sort of evenings talking about, you know, strategies and how we were going to film in certain places and things like that, because obviously there were locations that we were trying to get into, but they were only allowing a certain amount of people into the location. And then we were having to, you know, have these conversations about, okay, well, how do we figure this out? You know, we've got 25 crew, how do we get it down to 20 or whatever the case was? And it was just a bit of a logistical nightmare, and there were a lot of delays. I mean, the film probably took 6 months to a year longer than it should have taken, just because we had to keep stopping and starting. And then I would go off and do my own thing. Will would go off and do his own thing. And it was quite difficult to get the gang back together, you know, every time. But, you know, we made it work and we pulled through, and there were enough people that believed in the project to make it work. As for writing and directing myself, I don't think I'm ever going to do that again. It was a nightmare because I had to put a lot of faith into my team. You know, I needed to make sure that they understood the vision that I had, and that when I was on camera, when I was on screen, that they were kind of, you know, looking out for certain things that I wanted to achieve with the narrative and with my performance as well. So, you know, it was impossible to check back on every single take of me. So I was having to just kind of rely on my team basically. So that was challenging for sure.
And Lucas, also the success on the film festival circuit. So you found tremendous appeal for that too. So what was that experience like as a producer?
Extremely exciting, reaffirming, Mr. Howard, is the best way I'll describe it. I mean, you fall in love with the project, you sort of lose objectivity. So when others recognize it and it wins Best Film, I think, where was it, Hugo? Best Film at Paris. Was it Paris Film Festival?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple, but yeah, Paris was one of them. I think
by the way, had special significance. Sorry for interrupting, because Hugo is French. So when Paris accepted the film, and I don't know if I should say this, but Parisians are tough. I don't know if you could say that these days, but I just did.
I'm allowed to say it. I don't know if you're allowed to say it, but you know.
So
no, I'm sure it's fine.
If Parisians like the film, then there must be something to it. So it was reaffirming is the best way that I can describe it.
Well, you know, Parisians like Jerry Lewis too, Lucas. So we'll talk about that another time. So, and Hugo,
what was wrong with that? Jerry Lewis was very talented.
That's true. You know, he's one of my idols. Don't get me wrong. So, and Hugo, tell me about seeing makeup with an audience. What was that experience like? All that hard work, and you finally showcasing at film festivals. Do you recall when you first saw it with an audience and the reaction?
I don't think I did see it with a big audience, to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest. I never went to any of the festivals. No, I never did. I actually think that there was still on and off lockdowns and things like that when it was in festivals, and they were doing a lot of online screenings. It was still like coming out of this, you know, pandemic sort of era, and things weren't completely back to normal yet. So they were doing a lot of online screenings and things like that. And you know, I watched the film a couple of times with people that were involved and whatever, but I haven't watched it with an audience, to be honest, because I just haven't had the opportunity or been able to travel or whatever the case, you know.
Hey, Mr. Howard, I wasn't even able to get to set because London, US, and COVID and the lockdowns. So I missed everything was really remote, as Hugo indicated. We're really excited about how it's unfolding, and we look forward to hearing audience reactions and critic reactions to the project.
And do you see future relationship between you two, Lucas? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah. We're working on something right now.
We have a major, actually two features that Hugo has written. One is a comedy, which we're going to hold off because we wanted to break from right now, this is a drama comedy. The next project, which Hugo can tell you about, is an exciting thriller that involves some named actors. Now, as a result of this project, Hugo has been able to get access to, I would say, some significant people, names you will recognize, and they want to be part of this next project. Hugo, what's the name of it, if you want to share?
It's called Future Sins. So yeah, psychological thriller, as Lucas said, and it deals with mental health, correctional system. It's set in a dystopian future. So it's a very important film. Again, it's kind of it's showing the human psyche. It's dealing with relationships in a major way, and it's quite bold, so to speak.
Well, exciting times for you, Hugo, and also for you, Lucas. Guys, congratulations on Makeup and all the success. And I appreciate your time today, and let's do it again soon.
Thank you so much for having me on the program. We're really honored. Thank you.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Watch the movie so you can buy a shirt. Look at the poor kid.
I'm a creative. I keep telling Lucas I don't need to wear shirts. Okay,
He
I'm a
suffers.
director.
He's got to suffer for his art, Lucas. He's got to suffer.
Yeah, exactly.
Help us, please watch the movie.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's talk again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Bye bye.
Thanks for your time.